but this is not a normal 650. Sounds awesome. 3, 2, 1. Royal Enfield Continental GT 650, but this is not a normal 650. This is something special. It sounds absolutely awesome. It's really cool. I really like it until now. So this is a special Royal Enfield 650 because this is a Royal Enfield 865. Yes, you heard me correctly. This is a tuned version of the Royal Enfield. And it's a lot more powerful than a standard Royal Enfield. It is modified a lot, so you can't modify it any more than this, I think. And yeah, it sounds awesome. So okay, I'm gonna do a first impressions on this bike, and I'm going to do a full review at the end. But I want to say that this is not a normal depiction of how a Royal Enfield should be, because this bike is modified to all levels. So suspension is modified, the tires are different, the looks are very much different, the engine is of course a lot different. It does have the same clutch, but I think that's it. Yeah, it's absolutely awesome and different than a normal Continental GT. I think it's pretty comfortable, by the way. Really like it. I thought it was a very aggressive stance with the clip-ons, but it's quite relaxed, quite comfortable. Yeah, like it. So first impressions on the sound. Oh, it sounds awesome. I didn't know that a Royal Enfield engine could sound like this, but yeah, yeah, it sounds really good. And also, first thing I notice, it's really confidence inspiring. It's a pretty light bike, and because this has a different suspension, it has Hyper Pro in the front and Hyper Pro in the rear. It's really good. So I think when doing corners, long corners, short corners, it's really stable. It's not the most nimble of bikes, I think, or maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it's not the most nimble, but it's really stable in the long corners. It does vibrate a bit, but yeah. So cornering, yeah, fine. Comfort level, as I said, I was expecting a really uncomfortable seating position because the foot pegs are pretty high and the clip-ons are pretty low at first sight, but it's not. It's pretty comfortable. The seat is well padded. It's firm, but it's also soft, so it's a really good balance. I think I can ride this bike all day long, except the only thing that is a little bit of a downside, and I think that's due to the 865 big bore kit from SNS. The only thing is that it is vibrating a bit, so I can imagine that you will have a little pretty numb fingers at the end of the day, but you can fix that with rubberizing the handlebar and maybe adding some more weight on the bar end weights. I think the mirrors are surprisingly good, and these are standard normal Royal Enfield meters, so the bar ends from Royal Enfield, but they're fine. They're not vibrating, a little bit, but not too much, and they give a lot of good sight. What I do think is that it gets me thinking. I think I want bar end mirrors on my Moto Guzzi also. Yeah, like it. So I think the most important thing of this bike is the engine, and because this bike is overhauled, so this bike is a lot more different than a normal standard Continental GT in terms of engine power. This bike has a 86.5cc big bore kit from S&S installed, and it also has a different exhaust. It's tuned, it has a different air filter. Everything you can do on the engine is done, I think, except the clutch, but it's not needed. And it's just a peach. It's really good. I really like it. I think if I compare this to the normal 650 engine, which I've used on the Royal Enfield Super Meteor in another video, of course, that engine was good, and I really thought the sound was pretty good and the performance was good. But this engine is much better. I really get a real cafe racer vibe with this engine, and I know that there's a big how do you say that, culture around modifying these kind of bikes, especially the Royal Enfields, because they're pretty cheap to buy and pretty easy to work on. But I do think that upgrading the engine is not a thing that has been done a lot. So normally people will modify this bike in terms of looks and will keep the engine as stock as possible, because it's pretty expensive to upgrade an engine of this bike. Not expensive like, okay, it's the price of a completely new engine, but it is, how do you say that, in some cases not worth it. But I think this engine overall makes the bike really special. Yeah. So how does this engine feel? Because I was told that it has around 80 Newton meters of torque, so it's almost doubled compared to original, and it has around 60 or 70 brake horsepower, which is not groundbreaking by any means, but you need to remember this bike has a 46 brake horsepower engine stock, so that's a big upgrade. It's about 30%, and you feel that, and it really gives a real visceral feeling when you're riding this bike. Really pure, like a bike like this should be. So I'm gonna enjoy it a little more, and I will update you if I notice some new things to talk about. Okay, of course we have normal subjects like tech and that sort of stuff. It doesn't have a lot of tech. There's two tachometers, or one tachometer and one speedometer, which look great and fits the bike. There's a fuel range indicator, nothing fancy, no quick shifters, nothing. Nothing like that, but it doesn't matter because this bike is all about feeling. And it feels awesome. Also in terms of ergonomics, I'm 186 centimeters or meters, and I thought this bike would be really uncomfortable, but it's not. It's really comfortable, which is surprising, but it's really good. 0 till 100. 3, 2, 1. Best snel. Corners absolutely fine. Man, I wish they sold this bike out of the box, you know, for like 12,000 euros or something like that. You have a really awesome bike. You should hear this. Sounds awesome. Let's find a spot to do a really quick walk around of the bike. So, little walk around the bike. As you can see, there's a lot changed to this bike. We have a different headlight at the front, full LED. It's a Kozo headlight. Some official Royal Enfield accessories, like the bar emitters, which are really good. The wheels are powder coated. Also, some part of the engine case is powder coated. It has Hyperpros in the front and Hyperpros at the rear. SNS full exhaust with a small cat in it. It sounds absolutely awesome. Bobbins, Royal Enfield. Tail tidy. They shortened the tail a bit. They also put on a mono seat or seat cover. It's really small turn signals, which also double as a tail light, as you can see, which is really cool. And yeah, I think so. That's about it. I really think it looks very cool. I will start it, then you can hear a little bit. So echt vet. So, final thoughts. I think it's an awesome bike. I really like it, again, as with most Royal Enfields, but of course this one is special. And if I'm honest, if I would buy this kind of bike, I would absolutely do the same. I think this bike deserves some customization. It asks for it. And yeah, with this engine, absolutely awesome. Really like it. So I want to thank Axel's Bike Shop for this opportunity to review this bike. This is our first impressions. I will, if you want, I will also do a full review on this bike, but only if you want, of course, so please leave that in the comments. And if you want the same kind of bike, if you want something like this, a specialized upgraded Royal Enfield Continental GT, I would highly recommend to pay Axel's Bike Shop a visit, because they did wonders on this bike. And yeah, it's an awesome bike. So if you like this video, please leave a like, consider to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.